that I'm using for my blog and overall research of Baum. They all go through the experiences that Baum had in his early life when he was getting jobs in the western part of the world. All of his writings kind of happened after or during like the populist movement and women's suffrage. Um, Collectively, they all are talking about how he was an advocate for harmony among societies, specifically America, though he does not say that he was using America as to like focus his writing on, and they also show his advocacy for women's suffrage. In the first article by Karp, Utopian Tensions, um, it is talking about how in all of the 14 books that Baum wrote about in the Oz series were about creating harmony between multicultural and communication experiences between characters, and you can kind of see that through the characters as they act in a more free way, very individualized. In especially in the first book, if you've seen the movie, it's actually a lot like the book. Um, but Karp says that Baum looks to address the distinction of human beings and the natural world around them, and is attempting to erase certain connotations while he's writing his novels. Um, the second article is by Kupel. It is the life or the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz West. Basically talking about when Frank Baum was in South Dakota, which he moved to. When he moved to West, he kind of moved to the West. He kind of found like a new understanding of women's suffrage, and that being said, his mother-in-law was a very well-known women's suffragist, and this was right around the time of the first women's suffrage movement. He got his first job. Actually, I don't believe that is in this one. It might be. But he used a lot of his writing skills in his jobs working for a newspaper company where he kind of put on his own political stance and would urge his followers to vote for Republican, though Baum never really gives a definitive answer on whether or not he's Republican or Democrat. And he doesn't say that his writing has any sort of meaning towards his political view. Though you can see his own opinion of how women should be portrayed in the writing of the books. I mean, the first book, the main character was a woman. Also in his books, these articles kind of explain how each of the characters kind of play a certain symbolic measure towards American society during this time, with the Tin Man being specific. All of them are middle class kind of workers, agricultural workers, and like farmers, industrial workers, and also Dorothy was told to follow the yellow brick road in this book, and the yellow brick road is kind of associated with like the gold standard that was around this time, which was in the populist economy. These scholars kind of give the assumption that Baum was a populist and was kind of pushing towards that in his writing of all of his fairy tales, but Baum does kind of go against that and say that his writing has nothing to do with the Populist Party. He just wanted to write books, basically. A utopian society was evident in all three of these articles, and you can kind of see that it was pretty consistent with his writing as well. And somewhere up here, he when he got his job at the newspaper place, he was met with a lot of backlash by people who were reading it. He kind of led his own version of the populist and utopian view in his writing, and it focused mainly on those women's suffrage in society. Um, but he didn't let that stop him. He said a lot differently, but what it boiled down to was you can read it or you can not read it. It's I'm not writing this for you. I'm just writing this because I want to write it. But the scholar or Kupel, the scholar in this article, believed that Baum was trying to advocate for women in government and saying that a government ran by women would be one of the best governments, and there would be very little they could say against it. Um, and I think that's why Baum uses women more in his books, and that's something that's very rare at the time, and even later on in the 1900s. Women weren't really the main character of anything, and like the study we done before about Marvel and stuff like that, women are just now starting to get a little bit more of a leadership position um, in movies and books that we read now. But like an activity that you could do is basically put yourself in the shoes of a middle class worker during the time of his writings and kind of see how would you take the opinions that Baum gives in his books that are kind of related to America at that time period.